Well, welcome to Tim Time, everybody. I'm Tim, and so today I don't have a lot of things to do down here just because family emergency, been sick family member, and now they're living up here. But that's I had to make a few modifications to my rooms, and one of the things I was doing was changing some things with the radio. And when I went to use my SWR meter, I noticed a couple things with it. Well, one of the screws back here was loose, so I think we better get that tightened up before we spin it and break a solder joint. But another thing I noticed, and I try to check these all the time, but you always want to make sure that your center conductor is nice and tight. And what I do is I like to get one of maybe these kind, or one that's never been soldered, a PL259 connector, because sometimes you put the solder on there, and if you don't do a good job of letting it wick in or cleaning it off, it gets thicker than it should be. So if you get one of these, you don't thread it on, but you just kind of put it in there and make sure it's got a good amount of drag to it, which this does. See, that won't fall out of there. I guess that'd be a good test, a drop test. Same thing with that side. You want to screw it on, you just want to make sure that the center crimps real good. I found out when I was upstairs, one of my bulkhead connectors, it's a basically a through and through. What are you doing, cat? It's a through and through SO239, and the one end was so loose that I thought I had a bad cable. I almost tore it apart again. And I actually looked at it. I could see how wide it was. I never had put this in there. Well, I put that in. It fell right back out like that. Of course, that wasn't put in. But anyhow, so you do the same thing with these. That's nice and tight. Look at that. That's not coming out. I'm sure there's a scientific spec that would tell you how many pounds of force you need to pull it out. I don't have that. All I know is that's pretty good. But again, like I said, it's best to use one of those, because if you use one that you soldered, I don't know if you can really see that, and you didn't do a good job of cleaning your solder off, well, repeatedly putting it in and out and in and out will kind of bend those tangs out. So depending on what you got, sometimes you can bend the back in, sometimes you got to replace them. That's why I always recommend using some type of an adapter on your radio if you plug and unplug a lot of coaxes to it, because it's always easier to replace an adapter than to replace the actual connector at the radio. See, this one's not as tight. I mean, it's tight, but not quite as tight. Let's see what it does with one of these that's never had any solder to it. It's not super tight, but it's not going to fall out of there. Same thing with this side. As you can see, I'm putting a little bit of downward force on it. But anyhow, you want to always make sure you check those, and check them on your radios too. I don't have this radio here, but it's tight. I can't even get it in there. And on your amplifier, that's real important. Okay, back to the drawing board. So let's take this apart and tighten this up and see where we get to from that. I don't think I've ever had this apart before, so you'll be with me to do this. And let's hope that no critters jump out of this. Oh, there we go. Okay, so if you look inside there, you'll see the actual circuitry is inside. That's nice that they have that well insulated. Well insulated. Well, I guess we have to take it out to make sure that, because it is turning, so I'm going to have to take it out and see why it's turning. So let me pause this. Not there. Alrighty. I use my Fitz-all wrench, otherwise known as pliers. I wasn't going to run out to the garage and find the socket for this. what I do is I put this on here, and then you can either get a coax connector, anything that holds the top, because it's gnarled all the way around. If it's too tight, I'll put a coax connector on it, but these aren't really tight at all. I don't really think they have to be. I just want to make sure it didn't spin in here and break a solder joint or anything, because it was turning a little bit. But then I stopped in the nick of time. Like picking up all kind of weird sounds because that mic's right up at my neck. I'm going to change that right now. All right, there we go. Now is this thing ready to come out of here? It seems like it. But will it come out is the question. All right, well, I see a lock washer, so I'm thinking they probably have a nut on the other side. So, I guess if all else fails, I got to take more stuff apart. I don't know though, they both seem like that. I guess if I desolder it from the metal housing, of course they have it soldered all the way around. Now there's somebody's fingerprints on here. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's see if I can just unsolder the bottom part here and bend it down and look in there. All right, we're up to temperature now. Let's see if I can desolder this. Maybe I'll that's that one. I just got to do the two corners. There's one corner, and there's two corners. I'm just going to try to gently bend this down to look in here. So they do have a wire with a nut on the other end. I'm going to show you that in a minute. But neither one appear to be loose. But that nut is nowhere strong enough to, maybe if I shine a light in here, you'd be able to see that. There we go. You can see where the nut comes through. It's not soldered or anything. And that goes onto that, but it's an awful small nut. So I'll hold the outside while I tighten the nut on the case, and that'll add the extra force to keep this from turning. So yeah, if it turns on there, it won't affect anything. Then the wire is going to turn with it. See if you can see that in there. And they put thread locker on there. So you can see a toroid coil they use kind of like just as their pickup. And a pickup here. And it looks like it goes, the line goes, can you see that? The line goes right through, so it's should be very minimal loss when you connect this up. All right. So now let's see if we can put it back together and make it look like it was. I'm just pulling it off the bench to start these screws, so I'm not chasing it all over the bench. And one screw's missing. Don't know how that happened. Not sure how that happens. Oop, there it is. Right, that must not be lined up yet. Mm-hmm. No need to crank on these. We're not pulling engines out with them. All right. There's that and that. Let's see what we got. Here's the antenna. I need a transmitter cable. All right, we'll throw the icon back there. I'm going to throw it on AM. The other AM where it says AM. Let's just turn it up. Okay, we're going to do a dummy load, so it doesn't much matter. We'll put it on. It's telling me, I think it does 50 watts or something on AM. So I'll put it on the 200 watt scale. So let's see, that's 2,000 watts right there. So just knock a zero off everything. And here's 500, so if it's 50 watts, it'll be somewhere around there. Let's just see what we get. Oh. I was on calibration. Power, 200 watt scale. About 40. The radio is saying about 35 to 40, so that's good there. Let's check our SWR. Now we go to the calibration scale. There's cal. Let's see what our SWR is. Barely moves. Okay, so we know the meter works. Yay, meter! And that the jacks no longer flop around here, back here when you're tightening things in. Okay, so that's a wrap. Little SWR maintenance. And in case you never took one apart, that's what's inside them. It works. What can I say? Yay! You know, you never fix these things when they're not broken, so. Thanks for watching. And this is probably about the best I could do with a video right now because I just have everything in turmoil. Thanks for watching. I'll be in touch.